What a week. Woo! So, this is Road to Greatness, episode not 2, but 11. And it is currently Monday, the day after a 5-day retreat with the FMA Strength Institute, titled Beyond PT. And I tell you now, it truly was. The first 4 hours, before we even got into any content or talked about anything relating to personal training, that's probably the wrong way to say it. Anything relating to the content that we were going to go over around the knee and the spine, which I'll talk about in a moment. We spent 4 hours going into learning about who we are and understanding that professional growth cannot go past the personal growth and the personal development. Like, we spent 4 hours just on that. There were tears, there were stories, there was a lot of heavy conversation, and my God, it was truly phenomenal. And after that, I realized that I can't give what I haven't shared or what I haven't experienced. And yes, we are back with the iPad as a heads up. Going into that though, what did we talk about or learn about? Well, days 1 and part of day 2 went all about knee pathology. So we talked about the patella, we talked about the tibia and the fibula, we spoke about the popliteus. All of these different inert structures and inner units and how they can affect the knee. We talked about lateral posterior displacement of the tibia. We talked about the femoral tibia joint, or femoral tibia joint, and femoral patella and the patella femoral joint. There we go. I'll get there in the end. The patella femoral joint and the tibial patella joint and how they move. Why the patella even exists. The body's very smart in that way. All right. And we talked, when leading to that, we also mentioned about having a stronger mobile foot. That was super, super cool. All right. And so we spent a day and a half talking about the knee, or a good solid day talking about the knee. After that, we dove into the spine. And this is where my brain exploded. Starting off with flexion injuries, talking about a disc bulge. We did something called a derangement dance. Talking about disc bulge, understanding that there's the nucleus pulposus and the annulus fibrosus and how these tissues work. We touched on the potential things that you might come across when looking at a disc bulge. How to intervene with a disc bulge, how a disc bulge is potentially diagnosed. All right? Things that we need to look into when it comes to centralizing a disc. We talked about things where we need to refer out where it's outside of our scope. That was really cool. We mentioned the multifidus, but we also talked, getting back to the disc bulge, its impact on nerve roots. Okay, and from there we went into, dermatomal, myotomal, autonomic reflex testing. All of these things that I had never heard of, or I'd heard of before, but never seen properly. And it was like, whoa, this is really, really cool. All right, understanding that, if someone has numbness here but not there, then what's potentially going on? Could we have a nerve root issue? And it was just like completely exploding. All right. After going into flexion injuries, we talked about extension injuries, looking at facet joints, looking at the pars interarticularis on the back of the spine, those posterior structures, how they are guiding mechanisms that are not made for loading. All right. And then looking into issues around that, looking at, okay, someone can have a pars defect that is a spondylolysis, and they can have a bilateral pars defect spondylolysis, but until that shifts forward, that's when it becomes a spondylolisthesis. all these big fancy words that even I'm confused. So good luck looking and researching them up. But it was truly fantastic to dive into all of that. All right. And from there, we talked about the SIJ. All right. We talked about ut slips and torsions and out flares and how they may present and how to intervene. Okay. If someone has a leg length issue, is it because one leg is longer than the other? Or do they have a SIJ problem where they have twisted anomaloids? All these things came up and it was like, whoa. And so I am still quite overwhelmed by how much we went through, but I cannot be more grateful that I attended. And we finished day 5 by putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, having a conversation around what were we like under pressure? How did we do? How much actually retained? I can say for myself, I'm going to say if I consider it, I'm going to break it up into 5 layers. So 1 is basic, 2 is understanding, 3 is knowledge, 4 is application, and 5 is knowing. Okay, so that's sort of the way I'm working my way across. Knowing being that I like knowledge is, well, I know about this stuff. Application, I know about it. I know how to apply it. Knowledge is I know about it. I know how to apply it, and I can explain it to someone in a very simple manner. That is what I would call knowing. And so I would say that I am in between the knowledge and understanding phase. So I took away a lot of things that I know what to look for. I need to actually get hands on to truly understand what I'm doing. And I'm super excited to do that more, especially because Conrad was there from Cure, along with a few of the other guys that I know I'll potentially be seeing at the retreat in the Gold Coast, which is in 2 weeks' time. And it's going to be one hell of a day. I'm super, super excited to see. We also looked at the scapula, mobilizing ribs, mobilizing the thoracic in both extension and rotation. It sounds like I'm rambling on and being very sporadic, and partly because I am. I'm still decompressing from that experience. And I'm very grateful that I chose to go ahead and pursue that. It is such a phenomenal, phenomenal thing to learn from people who are heading in the same direction as you, to be in an environment that just breeds excellence. So, 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 so cool. So cool. And so my biggest takeaways from that, from those 5 days, the first one is going into the start, we talked about the personal development and the professional development. And something that Mark Buckley mentioned was to stay curious. Curious in the sense of always seeking to learn, curious in the sense of seeing how good I can get, curious in how I can keep serving others, curious into what I want my life to look like, into where I see myself. And I'm so excited. I'm so ready to find out. And it's not an arrogance thing. I'm just curious to know. And I love this idea of staying curious, because it's how I feel. I want to continue staying curious. I want to continue seeking knowledge, to pursue truth, to find out more things. Not for the sake of knowledge, but for the sake of knowing. Knowing that maybe I can be better, knowing that maybe I want something different for my life. I feel that is going to be so, so cool. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited. The other thing that we took that from that I mentioned before is just immersing yourself in an environment of people that want to get better, who are on a similar line to you. That to me felt, oh, yes, let's go. It was so good. It was so good. And last but not least, don't take yourself too seriously. like 5 days going into all of these different technical medical terms, the whole thing. And it would have been a 1-to-1 ratio, hands down, of seriousness to jokes. It was insane. It was insane. All right. People taking the piss out of each other, taking the piss out of what we were doing. Someone says a word like ball, and that's it. Like, we're off to the races. All right. Someone talks about being itchy, and it's just all over the place. So yeah, it's been a hell of a thing. But life is already hard enough. Why make it harder by putting extreme amounts of pressure on myself and act so serious? I'd love to be me. I want to be free. And I'm going to allow myself to continue being that, to continue being unapologetically me, to be curious into what the next version of me looks like. And that is what I'm choosing to pursue. Thank you very much, team, for tuning in, and I appreciate you guys for following along. This has been one hell of a ramble. I'm pretty sure we've been going for like 11 minutes or 12 minutes, but that's beside the point. I really do appreciate you tuning in. If you like this, comment down below what you'd love to learn more about from my time at the FMA retreat, and I look forward to sharing more about my journey and how I've been applying what I've learned over the next couple of weeks. So take care, team. Have a wonderful week, and I'm very certain that we will talk soon. Chat to you then.